Hey everyone, and welcome back to another chapter of Drenched. Story and artwork by me, Stacey Holt. As for my voice actors, Diz will be voicing Adrien, Cat Noir, and Felix. MerryMitch will be voicing Nino. TitaniumKitten will be voicing Plagg and Luka. Plain Bagel will be voicing Alya. And I'll be voicing Marinette, Ladybug, and the narrator. Now, Chapter 7.
Adrien! Over here!
Nino called out. Nino waved over, but stopped when he realized that it wasn't Adrien that was helping Marinette out of the car. Felix stepped out of the car with a smirk and helped Marinette out, walking towards them. Alya and Nino walked towards them, a little confused.
Hey, Felix. Nice to see you again.
Alya smiled politely.
Where's my buddy Adrien? Not that there's anything wrong with you, Felix.
Nino said, a little awkward. Adrien had a photo shoot? Marinette said, a little disappointed.
I'm filling in for the time being.
Felix smiled.
Alright. Well, where did we want to go?
Alya smiled. Marinette took out her phone while the others were talking amongst themselves and sighed, seeing the unsettling text from that morning. It seemed so bizarre, and still gave her an unsettling feeling.
Hey, I can't make the date.
What? Why?
Something came up. A photo shoot last minute.
Should we cancel?
No! Felix will fill in for me.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Go have some fun.
That was all he texted, and that was a few hours ago. Something was wrong. She wanted to call him, but she knew how his photo shoots were. They were strict. They could last hours as well. She didn't want to seem clingy or bothersome. Maybe Felix knew something about the photo shoot. Felix?
Yes, Mari?
When did he give her a nickname? The photo shoot. Where is it? Adrien didn't really say anything about it to me, she said, fiddling with her fingers.
No idea. He texted me and asked me to come with you in his place. That's all.
Oh, she said, a little disappointed. Alya could tell Marinette was upset, but they decided to make the best of it. They went on their way and tried to waste time. They hoped that Adrien would meet up with them when he was finished with his photo shoot later on, though he never showed up.
Adrien, why did you lie?
Plagg asked.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I'd rather not leave the house. Also, why are we stuck in the bathroom?
He knows things, Plagg. I don't know how, but he knows things.
What do you mean?
He asked, floating over.
He sent me texts of quotes that I said, word for word, last night.
Adrien said, a little panicked.
You think he has a voice recorder or a video camera in here?
Plagg asked.
I would think so. I'm not sure where.
Adrien said, sighing.
What did he say to you anyway?
He heard me talking to you. He didn't hear you, but probably thinks I'm crazy. Felix didn't go into the bathroom because he didn't see Marinette's clothes. So I'm safe to assume that the recorder or whatever isn't in here. So I would think it's safe to talk in here.
Adrien sighed, looking over at Marinette's now dry clothes that were laying on the counter.
It's been hours, Plagg. I've turned my room upside down and can't find anything.
Adrien sighed.
Do you want me to look?
Plagg asked.
Go for it.
Adrien sighed.
I'm going to lay down in my bed when I leave the bathroom. I can't talk to you.
Alright, I'll let you know if I find something.
Plagg said, flying through the wall into the bedroom. The sun had gone down, and Adrien had returned to his bed, pulling his blankets over his head, completely exhausted from tearing his room apart. Not even 10 minutes later, he heard a squeak and footsteps coming closer. He threw the blankets off of his head and shot up. He was met with two familiar bluebell eyes and a bright fluorescent red suit that glistened in the moonlight that shined in from his bay windows.
Ladybug? What are you?
He went quiet, remembering that he was being recorded. Where were you today? He covered her mouth, looking around the room. He shook his head and put his finger over his mouth to signal for her to remain quiet. He uncovered her mouth and saw her smiling, then was met with her lips against his. Even though that wasn't what he meant, he wasn't rejecting the kiss after all. He kissed her back and felt both of their faces start to resonate heat and turn pink. I missed you. Why didn't you text me? She asked.
We can't talk here. We're being listened to. Felix.
He said, looking around the room. Ladybug finally looked around the room and noticed that his entire room was in shambles. He had taken everything and basically flipped it upside down. Maybe we should talk somewhere else, Ladybug said.
Yeah.
Adrien said, scratching the back of his neck. Come on, she smiled, hoisting him up to the roof. After she placed him on the roof, she let him transform, and they both went to her house. They assumed it was a voice recording, since Felix only sent text messages of quotes to Adrien, so she didn't want Adrien's transformation words to be heard in his room. Ladybug jumped down to her bed and de-transformed, looking up at her blonde cat-ear partner above her. She sat down on her bed and snuggled under the blankets, waiting for him to sit down next to her. He jumped down next to her, seeing her smile at him as he looked at her. So, she began, fiddling with her comforter.
Let me explain why I bailed on our date.
He started. She nodded as he closed his eyes and took a breath.
Felix sent me a text last night. Things he wouldn't know unless he heard me quote it word for word.
Cat Noir said. Maybe you were being too loud again? Marinette suggested.
No, I wasn't. I was only talking to Plagg. I was being extremely quiet.
He said, pulling his knees to his face and holding them. I believe you, Adrien. Don't worry. We will figure this out, she said, placing her hand on his hand, seeing him getting defensive.
What if he finds out about my identity? What if he finds out about yours?
He said, worried. Don't worry. We will cross that path when we get there. Marinette smiled. She was right. Maybe he was overthinking it. Look how long it took them to figure out their identities. They literally had to see it for their own two eyes to truly see it. Though they were already cautious around Felix, this just made him more nervous.
What did you and Felix do while I was gone anyways?
He said. Oh, we went to Andre's for ice cream and went to see a movie. Marinette smiled.
Andre's? Did you share?
He asked, a little upset. The lover's ice cream? Are you jealous? Marinette teased, booping his nose.
Marinette, we're dating. I want to share ice cream with you, not my cousin.
He pouted. No, we didn't. All of us got our own. Marinette laughed. Cat Noir's face flushed red from embarrassment and pulled her into a hug, and heard her scream out from being pulled. They started laughing, and the night went on like any other until they decided to just stay the night at her home, since he felt more comfortable there than his own home. Cat Noir de-transformed halfway through the night and gave Plagg permission to go home, so he could try to find the recorder while they slept. Marinette would have let Tikki go along, but she needed Tikki to stay with her in case of an attack of any kind, which was understandable. That morning, Marinette awoke to the sound of Adrien's transformation and rubbed her eyes.
Oh, sorry, princess. Didn't mean to wake you up. Didn't want your parents to wake up and see, your boyfriend in bed with you.
He smiled nervously. But he is, she laughed. He laughed as both of their faces started to turn pink.
Anyways, Plagg found the device and destroyed it. I think I'm safe. For a while, anyway. I just need to keep an eye on Felix.
Adrien sighed. Are you gonna tell your aunt? Marinette asked.
No.
He sighed. Why not?
Why would I? I would be telling on myself. She would ask why he placed it there to begin with. Then your name would be brought up.
You're right. I'm sorry, Adrien. I've made things complicated, she said, her face turning sad.
No! I like you coming over.
He said, rushing over to her.
Maybe we can get you to come over like normal and not by the window. Your parents don't mind alley cats coming by, though.
He smirked, causing her to smile. All right, alley cat. We need to get out of bed, she smiled.
And do what?
He groaned. Maybe you could go talk to your cousin about the whole ordeal? I have to help my parents in the bakery. It's Saturday, the busiest day of the week.
But...
No buts. You need to get along. Yesterday, I was disappointed you didn't come, and I understand why, but you should work things out with him, so that way our identities are safe and that way I can see him more often. She smiled.
After the bakery rush hour is over?
He frowned. She crossed her arms and raised an eyebrow.
And I talked to Felix.
Then we can all get together. She smiled, climbing out of bed to change. He blushed and noticed she was still in his pajamas that he had given her.
You didn't change?
He asked. I washed them, I swear. But I really like the cat noir pajamas. The pattern is cute. She winked as she stuck her tongue out at him playfully.
Well, in that case, you can keep them.
He laughed. She smiled, and he could see a hint of blush spread on her face as she disappeared into the bathroom to change. He knew that that was his cue to leave. He dashed back toward his own home, smelling the dew from the early morning air, and felt the light breeze as he dashed from rooftop to rooftop. He hopped inside his room through the bathroom due to his paranoia and cut the water on, and took a quick shower. He changed clothes and got ready for the day as usual. He grabbed his phone and walked downstairs, where he was met with the everyday, normal, cold glare that Felix would give him from the other side of the breakfast table. He sat down and saw that Aunt Amelie was reading the daily newspaper, sipping her morning coffee like normal, smiling cheerfully. He sat down and sighed, thanking Nathalie as she gave him his normal breakfast.
Did you sleep well?
Felix asked.
I didn't hear your TV last night. Oh, yeah. I went to bed pretty early last night.
He said nervously.
Really?
Felix asked, one eyebrow raising, causing Adrien to swallow. What's the matter, boys? Is there something wrong? Amelie asked, looking up.
No, nothing.
Felix said, still looking at Adrien.
Nope, nothing at all.
Adrien smiled awkwardly.
Amelie, Adrien and I are going out together later.
Felix said, drinking his own coffee. Aw, that's sweet. You boys have fun, she said, standing up and kissing his cheek before leaving.
Where? We need to talk about what I saw last night.
Felix said, glaring.
So you did have a camera in my room? Yes, I did. Until you broke it. Somehow.
He glared. Are you two fighting? Amelie poked her head back through the door with a worried look.
No, Mother. We are discussing what our plans are for the day.
Felix reassured her. All right, she said, blowing a kiss and disappearing back behind the door once again.
We will talk in the park in 10 minutes. Meet me there,
Felix said, standing up and leaving. The park was a simple walk from their home. It was a short distance away. It wasn't usually a crowded place, yet it was public. It was one of the few places that he and Marinette showed him in Paris when he first arrived. Adrien walked to the park and sat under a tree on a park bench, patiently waiting for his cousin to arrive. Felix arrived not too long after, and sat down beside Adrien.
All right. Why did you place a camera in my room?
Adrien protested.
You've been acting weird. I wanted to know why.
Felix said.
Why didn't you just ask? Would you have told me the truth?
He made a good point. He wouldn't have told him anything. He couldn't. Felix made a good call on his part, though a bad one on Adrien's. If Kwame's could be seen on camera or recorded on audio, Adrien would have been done for.
No.
Adrien finally admitted.
Will you let me address the issue that is concerning me now?
Felix said, turning to Adrien.
Concerning you? Does Marinette know you're cheating on her? Cheating?
Felix pulled his phone out of his pocket and showed Adrien a video of him and Ladybug kissing in his bedroom.
Does Marinette know that you're cheating on her with Ladybug?